Hi, Year 7. Look, today, and I'm sorry I can't join you on Zoom because I have a meeting with Miss Gawthorne. I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. But if you could watch this video, especially if you had difficulties yesterday, and I will go through the Google form with you. So today what you're doing is you are looking at what probability is. Now, probability is probably a form of mathematics that you will use every day of your life. So probability is all about making a choice, okay? Now, every time you make a decision and decide to do something, you're doing probability without even knowing it, okay? If you play a game of any sort, okay, and you roll a dice, you're using probability. So you're using maths nearly every day. Might not seem like there's numbers and stuff like that involved, but it's actually probability. So probability allows us to describe how likely an event is to happen. So even if it's just, shall I have an orange or an apple today, probability, you could have a 50-50 chance, couldn't you, of choosing either the apple or the orange. All right. And depending on which one you like better, you might have some bias towards an orange if you prefer oranges. So you might have a more likely chance of eating an orange. So there you go. You could be using probability without even realizing it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to learn a couple of things. The first thing we're going to learn is we're going to learn the language of probability. So what are some words that we might use? So the second paragraph says, to understand the chance of an event happening, it is important to understand the language of probability. Probability is widely used in descriptions of everyday events, the chance that it will rain tomorrow, or the chance of winning lotto. Now, I did ask you here to listen to this video. I'm going to click on it. Oh, there we go. And hopefully it's going to play. Am I that lucky?
We will learn how to describe probability using words like certain, likely, even chance, unlikely, and impossible. We will begin by recalling what we mean by probability and defining some of those key words. Probability is the chance that something will happen. It is how likely an event will occur. We often measure probability with a number, either a fraction, a decimal, or a percentage. We can also use words such as impossible, unlikely, even chance, likely, and certain. It is this type of measure of probability that we will focus on in this video. As a number, probability ranges from 0 or impossible to 1 or 100%, which is certain. This can be shown on a number or probability line. As already mentioned, if it is impossible for an event to occur, the probability equals 0. And if it is certain for an event to occur, the probability is equal to 1. In the middle of these, we have a half, 0.5, or 50%. At this point, we say there is a 50-50 or even chance of the event occurring. An example of this is tossing a coin, as there is an equal or even chance of landing on heads or tails. If there is less than an even chance of an event occurring, we say it is unlikely to happen. In a similar way, if the chance of an event happening is greater than an even chance, we say it is likely to happen. It is these 5 words that we will use to answer the questions in this video. If this spinner is spun, which of the following describe the probability that the spinner lands on blue? Is it A, impossible, B, unlikely, C, equally likely for it to happen or not happen, D, likely, or E, certain? We know that the probability is the chance of an event happening, and our probability scale goes from 0 to 1. If an event is impossible, it cannot happen, and if an event is certain, it must happen. In the middle of this, we have an even or equal chance. This means that it is equally likely for an event to happen or not happen. If the chance of an event happening is less than this, we say it is unlikely. And if the probability or chance is greater than this, we say it is likely. In this question, we are interested in the probability or chance that the spinner lands on blue. We can see from the figure that 5 out of the 10 sections of the spinner are blue. 5/10 is equal to 1/2. As this is also equal to 50%, there is a 50-50 chance that the spinner lands on blue. We can therefore conclude that option C is correct. It is equally likely for the spinner to land on blue or not land on blue. This is because 5 sections or half the spinner is blue and 5 sections or half the spinner are not blue. Our next question will involve a bag containing marbles. A bag contains 35 marbles, 34 of which are blue. If a marble is picked out at random, what is the likelihood of it being blue? We can begin this question by recalling our probability scale. This goes from 0 to 1. If an event is impossible, it has a probability of 0. And if an event is certain, it has a probability of 1. In the middle of these, we have a 50-50 or even chance. This is when it is equally likely that an event happens or does not happen. If the chance of an event happening is less than this, we say it is unlikely. And if the chance of an event happening is greater than this, we say it is likely. In this question, there are 35 marbles in the bag. 34 of them are blue. This means that the probability of selecting a blue marble at random is 34 out of 35, or 34/35. This is significantly greater than an even or 50-50 chance. However, it is not certain, as one of the marbles is not blue. In order for the probability to be certain, all of the marbles in the bag would have to be blue. We can therefore conclude that it is likely that the marble selected is blue.
Oh my God, he's killing me. Okay, and in that case too, for that particular one, because it's so close to 1, you probably could use the word very likely. So you can use likely and unlikely, and you can actually put adjectives in front of those to also make it a little bit more than what you might think. Okay, I'll just check I'm back where I need to be. So task number 1 says, open the Google Slides language of chance and match and order the pictures. So I'll get that open. I believe it's not that one. It is this one. Language of chance. I've got it on my iPad. Review the following event descriptions. Match each event description to the likelihood of it occurring. Place the pairs in order from least likely to occur to most likely, and take a photo when you finish. Now, I uploaded this and I gave you your own copy. So if you actually just do it on your copy on your iPad, the one that you open in the Your Work section on Google Classroom, it will save it automatically, or at least you've got to press save, I should say. So you don't have to take a photo if you don't want to, is what I'm trying to say. So what you need to do is you've got all these words: impossible, unlikely, very likely, certain, even chance, very unlikely, and likely. They need to go in this right-hand column. Okay, and you've got New Year's Day will be on the 1st of January. You will grow 18 centimetres taller this year. You roll a fair die, obtain an odd number. Water will boil in the fridge. There will be snow at Thredbo this winter. You roll a die and obtain a number less than 5. And there will be at least one day with a maximum temperature under 5 degrees Celsius in Cairns in January. All right, so let's put the words in order first of all. Let's see, can I? I don't know if I can move this. It's not going to move. Anyway, what you should have done, that's a little weird. I thought that was going to let me, hold on. My bad. I've got to press something to let me do that, don't I? No. Okay, it's not going to let me do it. All right. Bummer. Present. No, I don't want to present. I want... No, don't want to do that either. Okay, it's not going to let me move it. So I'll just go over the answers for you anyway. So in the right-hand column, you should have started with impossible up the top. Oh, just figured it out. There you go. Maybe that will let me change it. Yes. All right. So up here, I should have had impossible. Okay, so likely's in the way. Will it let me move likely? Hey, there we go. Did it move? No, it probably didn't. Okay, so it's not going to let me do what I need to. Yay. All right, so what you needed to do, let me see. I'll open it now in Classroom, show you what it looks like. Sorry about this. So here are the solutions. All right, so your answer should have looked like this. So on the right-hand side, impossible, very likely, unlikely. So if you couldn't move it like me, you might like to write this in your book instead. It might be a bit easier that way. Even chance, likely, very unlikely. Okay, they're actually... So very likely and very unlikely should be swapped, because you're supposed to go from impossible to certain, like on a number line, and they've made a mistake there. So very likely and very unlikely are actually in the wrong positions. So definitely the least likely to occur is that water will boil in the fridge. We know that a fridge keeps things cold, so that's impossible. It's not going to happen at all. You will grow 18 centimetres taller this year. That's very unlikely. So that one there should say unlikely, not likely. Sorry about that. There will be at least one day with a maximum temperature under 5 degrees in Cairns in January. Well, in January in Cairns, it's very hot because it's summer. So that's definitely not going to happen. So if anything, I'd probably say that's more very unlikely. But anyway, we'll keep going. Probably even impossible, quite frankly. Next one, the answer is you roll a die and obtain an odd number. A die is a dice, just in case you're not sure. So remember, on a dice, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5. That's 3 numbers. So the other 3 numbers are 2, 4, and 6. So that means it's an even chance because there's 3 numbers that are odd, 3 numbers that are even. Okay, so 3 out of the 6 could be an odd number. Likely could be you roll a fair die and obtain a number less than 5. So if you roll a dice, how possible is it to get a number that's less than 5? So remember, on a dice you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you roll a number less than 5, that's either 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. So that's 4 numbers, isn't it, out of the 6 on the dice. So it's pretty likely. There will be snow at Thredbo this winter. So that should be very likely, not unlikely. And most likely to occur, New Year's Day will be on the 1st of January next year. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen, isn't it? All right, so the next thing I wanted you to do was to take a quiz, but that might not have worked because our subscription for IXL only lasted for 30 days when I got that for you. But you can do it without putting in your password. So I did write on Google Classroom, if you're having any difficulties, join me on Zoom. Just underneath that it says, for the quiz, choose guest, because we don't have a current subscription. So if you didn't get to do the quiz yesterday, or at least some questions, can you try? You can actually do 20 questions per day for free. I'm going to try and see if I can get us another 30-day free IXL subscription. So just give me a bit to do that. In the top right corner on your iPad, it's actually got, mine said preschool. So if you pick up there, you can click on Year 7. And if you scroll to the very bottom of Year 7, it said AA, probability. And there was a lesson called AA1. It was called More, Less, and Equally Likely. So that's talking about less and equally likely. If I find another one, I'll let you know. I think grade 3 had some as well. So if you want to find probability in any other grades lower than Year 7, feel free to have a go at those. But remember, you can only do 20 questions in total. But I'll have a look and see if I can find some more for you. All right, so the next thing I wanted you to do, so if you couldn't do a screenshot, don't worry too much about that, was now list 2 of your own events that could be described using the following titles. So we had impossible, we had unlikely, we had even chance, we had likely, and we had certain. So here were some events that Miss had already come up with. So an impossible event would be that no baby would be born tomorrow. There's a baby, or at least 100 born every day in the world, so that's definitely going to be happening. Another impossible event, if I roll a fair 6-sided die or dice, I won't roll a number 6 or under. Well, the numbers on a dice only go from 1 to 6, don't they? So that's definitely impossible, okay? Because you're going to get a number that's 1 to 6. Okay, an unlikely scenario could be an NRL team will be decided by 50 points. Unlikely, but it actually happened this year, didn't it? A couple of times. There will be no days of rain throughout the year. Okay, also quite unlikely because it does tend to rain sometime in the year. Unless, of course, it was last year when we had that awful drought. Or the year before, I can't remember now. Even chance. A woman will have a baby boy. So that's an even chance because you've only got 2 choices, haven't you? Boy and a girl. So that's an even chance. Another one could be I had a spinner that has equal sides red and blue. And I spin blue, so that's half-half. That's a 50-50 chance, even chance. Likely, the weather will be warm in January for a holiday. Yep, the weather is pretty warm in any time of January, so we would assume that's correct too. That's likely going to happen. A baby will be born on a weekday, not a weekend. Yep, that's pretty likely. They're probably going to come on a weekend too, so could be either. And some certainties are, after today, it will be tomorrow. Yep, that's certain to happen. And I select a black marble from a bag of black marbles. Yep, that's definitely going to happen too, isn't it? Okay, so there are some examples. Here we go, we'll keep going. So hopefully from the video, you realised that you can have this number line. If you haven't already, can you have a go at writing that in your book for me? I'll take a photo of that and I'll include that in Wednesday's tasks. So the probability of an event occurring can be described by words and is measured with a scale ranging from and including 0, impossible event, to 1, a certain event. The probability of an event occurring between 0 and 1 can be written as a decimal number or as a fraction. So here we go. Notice how you can have unlikely. You can have lots of unlikelies. You just put an adjective in front. Highly unlikely makes it more unlikely than just unlikely. All right? You can have less than an even chance, and that's just a little bit below an even chance, or better than an even chance. So again, that's where an adjective has made it just a little bit higher in terms of the number scale. And we can have likely, we can have very likely, or we can have highly likely. Okay, so there's some more words with adjectives that could be used. So if you haven't written something like that in your book yet, could you write just that section, probability of an event occurring can be described by words, and that number line, please, with all those lovely words on it. If you've got a printer, you can take a photo and print it out if you like. But remember, the more we write things down, the more we remember them. Task 2, using your understanding of the language of likelihood and the diagram above, assign a number value between 0 and 1 to represent the estimated probability of the following events, depending on how likely they are to occur. So these are the answers, okay? So the first event was, I'll open up my other one. You flip a coin. The example was you roll a die and you obtain a number less than 2. Well, on a die, that's a dice. The only number you've got less than 2 is 1. So that's one number out of a possible 6, isn't it? So number assigned, Mrs. said that's roughly 0.3. So the first one you had to do on your own was you flip a coin and you obtain a tail. So if you flip a coin, what are the 2 particular answers you can get on a coin? You can either get a head or a tail, can't you? So if there's only 2 answers, then that means you must have an even chance of getting one or the other. So that's why an even chance will always be roughly a half, 0.5. Now, if you didn't get exactly the same decimal as me, that's okay, as long as you're close. If you got 1 for impossible, for number 2 there, well, then you know you're wrong, don't you? So you've got to make sure you get a bit close. So number 2 says you choose a red ball from a bag containing only 8 white balls. How do you choose a red ball if there's only white balls to choose from? So that's why that one's impossible, and 0 represents impossible on the number line. Number 3, you guess the correct answer in a multiple choice question with 5 options. Okay, so there's only one answer that's correct, isn't there, out of the 5? So 1 out of 5, if you used your calculator, 1 divided by 5, you actually get that number 0.2 as your number assigned. So that's how you could use that to help you work that out. And if there's only one correct answer out of the 5, then it's probably close to unlikely. Some form of unlikely will do. I don't mind what adjective you use. But unlikely would definitely be the language you would use. Number 4, you flip a coin and obtain a head. Again, you've only got a tail or a head to get, so that one's an even chance with 0.5 as your answer. And 5, you choose a green ball from a bag containing only 4 green balls. Well, that's definitely going to happen, isn't it? If you've only got green balls, you're going to definitely pull out a green ball. So that's a certainty, and we always use a number 1 to denote a certain answer. All right, so 50-50. We're going to have a look at task 3 now, and you're going to have a look at 50-50. Now, if you haven't done any of these yet, can you maybe either watch this if you're not sure, or pause it and have a go if you haven't had a chance to have a go at it yet. And you can start it again when you're ready. So 50-50 is an expression commonly used in probability. It means the event has an even chance of occurring, or exactly 50% chance, which is the same as 0.5 as a decimal or a half as a fraction. So task number 3 says, write 3 events that have a 50-50 chance of occurring below. So we had quite a few up the top. Here are some if you didn't get any. You might like to write some in. Flipping a coin. So in a coin, you've only got a head or a tail answer. That's why it's 50-50. In a spinner, you have to have equal sides, red and blue. So if you've got 6 little pie pieces, 3 of them have to be red and 3 have to be blue, okay? And that means the basic spinner circle must be half red and half blue. Number 3, picking a green marble from a bag that contains 3 green and 3 yellow. Notice there are 3 green and there are also 3 yellow. So your marbles have to have the same number, okay, depending on what you're picking. All right, open Google Slides, language of chance, description and measure. So if you can open that from Google Classroom, this is what it wanted you to do. So let me have a quick look. Oh no, I'll stay where I am. So you had to open it up and it asked you to match the chance descriptions with its appropriate measure of probability. So I believe they were all written down the bottom and you had to move them. Okay, it does say you can use a number more than once. And there are some lovely all different words that could mean the same thing. So let's start on the left. So impossible is obviously going to be underneath the 0 in the number line. Not able to occur, that also means not going to happen, doesn't it? So that would also represent a 0. A very low number is 0.25. Words like doubtful, slim chance, improbable, unlikely, we've used that already, haven't we? They could represent 0.25 on the number line. 50-50, fair chance or even chance could be other words that we would use for the 0.5, the middle part of the number line. 0.75, that's starting to get a little bit closer to the 1, so you could use words like probable, likely, or even more than likely, okay, if it's getting a little bit closer to the 1 than 0.75. And then for certain, some other words could be certain, definite, sure, okay? A sure thing is something some people sometimes say. So they're the answers that you should have gotten. Now, if you couldn't move yours like mine, you might like to write that in your book as well and take a photo and upload that. Okay, again, pause the video if you haven't done the next bit. If you're not sure what to do, keep watching and do it with me. All right, task number 4 says, consider the situations below. Okay, yep. Describe an event to match the chance description given. The first one has been done for you. All right, so our first situation is rolling a fair-sided dice. So we've got 6 numbers on a dice. So rolling a number 6 or under is a certainty, all right? Or even just saying rolling a number 1 to 6. Okay, that's all the numbers there are, isn't it? So you're definitely going to get one of those answers if you say roll a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. A 50-50 or an even chance could be either rolling an odd number like that, or you could have said even number, okay? And likely, rolling a number that has a factor of 6. Ooh, that's a bit tricky. So a factor of 6 means what 2 numbers do you multiply together to get an answer of 6? So 1 times 6 gives you 6, and 2 times 3 gives you 6. So that's 4 numbers from the dice out of a possible 6. So if that fraction, 4 over 6, is bigger than a half, then it's definitely going to be a likely answer. All right, situation 1, turning the spinner once. All right, let's have a look. So here are some suggestions if you didn't get this one. What's something that's impossible? Well, the only colours on that spinner is a blue, a yellow, a red and a green. So picking any other colour besides blue, yellow, red and green, Mrs. Pick Black, would be impossible. You can't spin a black if there's no black on there, can you? Unlikely. So unlikely is the pie piece that's least likely, or the less amount that's coloured in. So the smallest amount coloured in is the red section, isn't it? So that would be unlikely to actually spin and get the red colour when we spin it. Which one could be likely? Well, you're going to pick one that's a bit bigger. So probably the green is the best one, because the green's got the most section, hasn't it? It says spinning a green or a blue. What that means there is they've actually added the green and the blue section together. So if you add the green and the blue section together, you now have 5 pie pieces where you can actually get an answer correct if you spin this spinner. So that's why that one is actually likely, because they've combined the blue and the green section. All right, choosing one marble from the jar. So what's impossible? So you have to choose a colour that's not there. I can't see green, so maybe I could say it's impossible to choose a green marble. Let's see. Oh, look at that. That's what Miss said. God, I'm good, aren't I? I promise I didn't look. Next one says even chance. So you need to look for the marbles that have the same amount. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 blue, and I can see 2 yellow. So an even chance is choosing a red marble. Why? Because there's 6 red, but there's also 6 blue and yellow when you add the blue and yellow together. So as long as those 2 numbers are both 6s, then it's going to be an even chance. Likely. So it's more likely, or getting closer to the 1 mark, if you choose a red or a blue marble. So what that means is we're actually adding the amount of blue and red marbles together. So there are 6 red, there are 4 blue, so that means there's 10 marbles out of the possible 12 that I could possibly pick. Now 10 out of 12 is pretty big fraction, it's getting fairly close to 1, so that's why that would be the likely situation or the likely guess. All right, what about situation 3? Choose one coin from my pocket. Oh, my eye's itchy, sorry. Okay, so which one would be a certainty? So which coins are there more of? I can see 2 $2 coins, and I think I can see 2 5s. Can't quite see with my eyes. I think they're 5s. So let's see. Right, choosing a coin that's 5 cents or more. Well, they're all 5 cents or more, aren't they? Yes, they are. So it would be a certainty. If you choose a coin that's 5 cents or more, that's definitely going to happen, isn't it? Probable. What's something that's probable or probably going to happen? So choosing a coin that is greater than 5 cents. So there's 2 5-cent coins. Everything else is greater than 5 cents. So if you pick any one of the other ones besides the 2 points, 2 5 cents coins, then you're definitely going to pick something, aren't you, that is probably likely. And unlikely, choosing 3 coins whose total is $5. Well, there's only one scenario where that works, isn't there? 2 and 2, 2 $2 coins and a $1 will give you $5. But if you put 3 of any other coin type together, you're not going to get $5, are you? If you put the 20 cent, the 50 cent, and the $1 coin together, for example, that's only going to give you $1.70. So that's why it's unlikely. There's actually only one combination out of all those coins that will give you $5. So that's why that one's unlikely. Okay, task number 5. If you haven't had a go at this one yet, you might like to stop and pause the video. Otherwise, have a go with me now if you're not too sure what to do. Task 5 says, design a spinner. Give the relationships between the likelihood of each outcome. Number 1, design a spinner with 2 colours, blue and yellow, so that the blue is 3 times as likely to occur as yellow. All right, so I'm going to show you this. If you want to have a go at this on your own, please pause it and see if you can do it in your own Google Doc. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. So pause it if you want to have a go first. So blue section has to be 3 times bigger than the yellow section. So you'll notice your blue section is 3 lots of a quarter or 3/4, whereas your yellow section is only 1/4, isn't it? Okay, so the blue section is 3 times more likely to occur because there's 3 lots of blue quarters, but there's only 1 lot of yellow quarter. Okay, so that's how you do that one. See if you can do the next one on your own. Design a spinner with 3 colours, blue, yellow, and aqua, oh, goodness me, so that blue and yellow are equally as likely to occur. All right, so the blue and yellow just have to be the same size in section. Okay, so pause it if you don't want to see it yet. Here we go if you want some help. All right, so aqua is just a lighter blue, isn't it? So you'll notice that the yellow and the blue, darker blue, are both the same size. So as long as they're the same size, you are correct. Okay, now it didn't say whether the aqua had to be bigger or anything, so you could have done, as long as you didn't do thirds, because that makes all of them equal, and only the blue and the yellow, the dark blue and the yellow, had to be equal. So it doesn't really matter how big the yellow and the blue were as long as they were both the same size. And aqua is either bigger or smaller than just the quarter size. Number 3, design a spinner with 3 colours, yellow, aqua and blue. You don't have to use aqua if you don't want to. Any other colour will do. So that yellow is twice as likely to occur as the blue, and blue is 3 times more likely to occur than the aqua. Right, so yellow has to be twice as big as the blue section, and the blue section has to be 3 times as big as whatever the other colour is you want to use if you don't want to use aqua. So pause the video if you don't want to know what the answer is. You want to try and figure it out for yourself. Otherwise, let's have a go together. All right, so definitely that was telling me that yellow had to be the bigger size, blue was going to be the next biggest, and then the aqua, or the third colour, was going to be the smallest. So if you have some way, even if you have a little piece of paper, and you can cut out that aqua section, you should hopefully notice that 1, 2, 3 of those pie sections of the aqua colour should fit into the blue section. And then yellow is twice as likely to occur as blue. I think that yellow section should be a bit bigger, but anyway, we'll do that for now. I actually think the yellow section should be slightly bigger than that. Anyway, we'll go with that for now. All right, and what's next? Is there any more? Oh, no, that's it. Yay, we're finished. All right, that's the end of the video, Year 7. If you've done everything, then you are done for the day. I have put some extension questions on